We are going to meet Sammy Sosa this weekend. It's true. We tell you about it next.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being part of the show and making us your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and comment anything below. Today's episode is presented by Booking.com. Booking.yeah, the right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals. Book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball, and get the Booking.com app today. This Saturday night, Club 400, one of the largest Cubs-related organizations run by Stu McVicker out there out of his house in Lake in the Hills, northwest suburbs. They're having a 10-year anniversary bash featuring one and only Cubs slugger, Cubs icon, Sammy Sosa. You're going to hear all about this event from Stu himself coming up next. But Sam, the big news here off the top is that we have purchased tickets to this event, which includes meeting Slammin' Sammy himself. How about that? You must be jacked.
Yeah, it's about as excited as I've been probably, I would say, since maybe, the 80s.
Well, wait a second. You weren't around then.
Yeah, well, sometimes you just don't know. But of course, as we talk about with Stu, with all due respect to the great Chris Bryant, and with all due respect to Anthony Rizzo, and with all due respect to Lester, Zobrist, Javi, Joe Madden, and those guys, Aramis, Derek Lee, there's nobody that I'd rather meet than Sammy Sosa because, he's a lot better than all those guys. I know there's a lot of controversy that surrounds him, and we're going to talk about that later too. And I just don't really get it. I understand there was some steroid stuff and Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire. We don't have to get into that, but Sammy Sosa was the bridge athlete. In the 80s, this city had Walter Payton, who, I personally believe is one of the 5 greatest NFL players to ever play the game. And then in the 90s, there was, of course, a basketball player by the name of Michael Jeffrey Jordan. And then Frank Thomas, too, was great. But
yes,
then
he was.
That late 90s, right in that June when the Bulls won and Jordan pushed off Russell for their 6th title. That month, Mr. Sosa had 20 homers and had 66. Then he had 60 again. Then he had 50. Then he had 63 or 64. I think it was 66, 63, 50, 64. So he had 60 home runs 3 times in 4 years. And responsible for so many memories. And getting a chance to meet him, you want to talk about a bucket list opportunity. It doesn't get much bigger than that.
Yeah, I was reflecting on it this week as it started to trend more that I was going to make this decision to go. And I'm really happy that we're both going. I think Stu, as listeners during our own show, did a really good job.
He got me into it.
He did. And I hope that everyone listening and viewing will get that vibe too. Also, let us know if you're going, by the way, in the comments or via Twitter X. But if there was one player that I would want to meet, it's Sammy Sosa. Wow. And my Cubs fandom, I started following the Cubs as a little kid in the late 90s, and then that turned over to the new millennium there in the 2000s. And yeah, it's been well documented how he exited the franchise, then moved on to the Orioles and Rangers and such. But he has such a strong place in this franchise's history. I hope one day he does return to Wrigley Field. He returned to the area last March. He's going to be back this weekend. And it's also I would encourage you to closely listen to the discussion with Stu because he does drop a couple things in there.
Yep.
Including, by the way, that there might be a couple current Cubs at Stu's house at this event Saturday night. So we're going to keep our eyes peeled for that. But yeah, a lot going on here, and I'm really excited that we're going, and just very, very encouraged by all the people that are already supposedly going to be there. I think it's just going to be a great event.
Yeah, and while you're waiting to meet Sam and Sammy Sosa, what better appetizer than getting a chance to talk ball with little Matty Coase and Sam Olber too?
Yeah, and Stu was really appreciative that we're going, and which was really cool.
Yeah, so I might be on my phone a bit because Illinois will be down 2 touchdowns to Penn State while that's going on.
I wouldn't be surprised if Stu has that on somewhere.
Oh.
In his basement.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I want to watch it.
Yeah, I wanted to put this graphic up, and we're going to have a scroll during this segment with Stu to get tickets. But this Saturday, it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's get to the interview. Excuse me, I'm so excited.
Excuse yourself.
I'm having trouble speaking.
I want to have another cinnamon munchkin donut.
Okay. Oh, wow. You're in the fall flavors?
Yes.
Okay. Coming up next, we talk to Club 400's Stu McVicker.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 players' stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Cubs face Christopher Sanchez tonight. Strikeouts could be something you might want to look at. It's not. Wisdoms is in the lineup.
He's going to be in the lineup every game the rest of the year, I think.
Get in on the daily action with your friends. Those are always fun. And become part of the Prize Picks community today. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You could turn $10 into $1,000. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. The experience of playing with Prize Picks is so simple and fun. Folks, he had over 300. One Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on Prize Picks every week in September. That's right. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. Okay, that's 4 weeks of free W's, but only 1 week to go. And anyway, don't miss this deal on Prize Picks because it's gone when September lands. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, run your game.
And we are pleased to be joined now by Stu McVicker from Club 400 to round out this episode. And Club 400 is having a 10-year anniversary bash this Saturday featuring Cubs slugger, Cubs icon, Sammy Sosa. This is Club 400's big backyard bash. We're going to talk about the variety of ticket options. We're going to talk about hopefully getting to the Club 400's $1 million goal over the last 10 years. This is this Saturday, 5:30 to 9:30. VIP tickets start at 4:30. Like it says on the website, a night you will never forget. So we're going to go through ticket options and all that, Stu. Thank you so much for being on. You have the greatest Cubs man cave on the planet there in Lake in the Hills. You started this in 2013. Have been the link to many charities, many good causes on behalf of Cubs fans. Shoot, your slogan is Cubs fans helping Cubs fans, which I love. Not only how did Club 400 start, but really what I would like to zoom in on is what impact has it had looking back on the 10 years?
Club 400 got started on an accident, to be honest with you. Whenever I walked into Wrigley Field, I forgot about life's problems, outside, and it was just baseball, friends, Wrigley Field, and a few beers, and that was my heaven. That's where I wanted to be 24/7. So obviously you can't be at Wrigley Field all the time. So I wanted to build the second best place to watch a Cub game, maybe third behind Sloan Park, which was Club 400. And it was basically built for friends and family, a place to hang out and, watch sports. And then it obviously evolved into something else on accident. I wanted to let everybody know when I built Club 400, it was never supposed to be a charity. It was supposed to be just a cool place to watch Cub games. But when I put about 20 pictures on the desk of Tom Ricketts at the Cubs convention in 2014, and he called me over on the Sunday. He said, "I'd really like to come over and see your place. This is amazing." So that was like before the renovations and everything. That's when he first bought the team. And basically, a friend came over later on that year who suffered from bacterial meningitis when he was 21. He was older at the time, but he caused him to lose 2 legs and an arm. And he basically has 3 prosthetics, and he was complaining about how much these prosthetics was hurting him, and how some days he wasn't able to get up in the morning because of the sores on his stumps. And basically, so the light bulb cone went off the next day. I said, "Man, my buddy needs new prosthetics. Tom Ricketts wants to come out here." So we threw a little party, and Tom came out, and we raised $35,000 that night. And with the help of some protesticians, because $35,000 ain't going to cover 2 legs and an arm, we were able to get 2 legs and an arm, and some really cool contraptions to help him throw a baseball, to make things a little bit easier for him. And that was the beginning of Club 400. And I was like, okay, where do we go from here? And how do we get players to my basement? And I don't know, a lot of people don't know this, but we came up with a "We Got Wood" shirt in 1998. So we had formed a relationship with Kerry Wood. So Kerry Wood was my first guy I wanted out, and they turned us down. But Tom said, maybe you should go check it out. It's kind of cool. And they wanted $18,000, and we gave the Kerry Wood $38,000. And we always over delivered. I started working with players' charities, and that got us reputable to the point where I could not work with players' charities anymore, but do stuff where I can help out the fans, because the players' charities was the avenues to the fans. They helped me get reputable. The players would come out, they would tell other guys, and once we got that good reputation, I switched the switch, and it became Cub fans helping Cub fans, because I think that Chicago Cub fans are the greatest fans in all of sports, and I found that I might possibly have an outlet to help people. And it's been an amazing 10 years. And you asked me about all the great things that have happened. I mean, the best thing about it is we formed a great community of people. When we have an event, we have 70, 80, 100 percenters that are going to be at the event. So you can always count on 70, 80 people show up. And we treat those people like family in that group. If something goes wrong, we're 80 strong. We want to be 200, 500, 1,000 strong. The stronger we get, the more impact we can make. And that's what Club 400 is. It's basically an organization. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to do anything. You just have to participate. And a lot of people ask me what Club 400 is, why I came up with that name. And we live in such a device society right now that the two things that bring people together are sports and music. And my charity was basically based off of sports and music, because when you go to a ball game or you go to any sporting event, it doesn't matter. As long as you like that team, you're high-fiving the guy next to you. When you go to a concert, you're there because you like that artist. I like bringing people together. I really do. And I like doing it in the form of baseball and music. So that's what Club 400 is. And it's been an amazing 10 years. I'll tell you what, guys. I formed a lot of friendships I would have never had with a lot of people.
Stu, you are actually living out probably a lot of our listeners, maybe even my dream as well, of taking this unhealthy obsession of being a Cub fan.
You got that right, Sam.
and turning it into something good, and turning it into something productive, because we all have these phases with friends, family. Mom, what are you doing while I'm watching the Cubs? Or again, and you've turned it into something that could actually not only be valuable, but to help people, which is amazing. I guess my only question before we talk about the specific event, Matt, would just be, what are your Cub origins, and how did you get into the Cubs and becoming such a passionate fan? Because like you said, originally this was just supposed to be a place to watch and suffer as, we find ways to lose baseball games.
Yeah, I found the Cubs on accident. My dad, he was busy working, 24/7. And I actually turned on WGN one day to watch a cartoon, and I actually turned it on at the exact right time. It was probably 1983. And at the time I turned it on, I heard this old guy go crazy, and it went something like this. There's the line drive down the line. 1 run is in. 2 runs are in. Oh, here's another guy coming around the third. Here's the throw. He's safe. Cubs win. Cubs win. I'm like, what the hell is going on? You gotta remember, I didn't know anything about baseball.
Cubs.
All I heard was this old guy freaking out. And obviously that old guy was Harry Carey. And his love, his enthusiasm for the game radiated right out of that TV and into my soul. And I was cursed ever since with loving the Cubs, guys.
Oh my gosh.
And go figure, you found it on WGN, not Marquee. Mac, carry on.
Yeah. And it was Harry Carey and WGN. My first favorite player was Billy Buckner. It went to Rhino. But it goes to Sammy Sosa. He is my all-time favorite player.
And here we go.
Cubs uniform, yeah.
Wow. Well, if I had one player I would want to meet
Easily,
I think it's by far Sammy Sosa, Stu. He represents my childhood, and the first full season that I remember is 98, and then into 2000, 2001, and so on. So Sammy was the guy. We would imitate his batting stance in the backyard, all that. He was actually at Club 400 6 months ago in March, and now again this Saturday. How excited are you for this?
Well, I'll tell you what. You know, when I was a kid, my mom, when I fell in love with the Cubs, my dad, like I said, he was a hard worker, but my mom would take us on the road. Our first road trip we went to was Pittsburgh, Three Rivers Stadium, all right? And my mom, I'll never forget, she came out of the hotel because we didn't have a room, we didn't have anything. And so we went to the Cubs hotel. Back in the day, they used to have the Cubs hotels and the media guys. They don't do that anymore, but back then they did. And we found where the Cubs were staying. And my mom came out of that hotel. We didn't have a lot of money at the time. Hey, I got a room, everybody. So we were all excited, right? So we're sitting in the lobby, and Sammy Sosa comes walking out of there. This is probably the year that he got traded from the White Sox to the Cubs. And he came out of that elevator, and he walked straight to me and my brother, and he sat down to us, and he talked to us for 15 minutes, man. And it was an experience I'll never forget. As a young kid, and this Sammy telling me like how he grew up poor and how I used to use milk cartons for baseball gloves. I mean, that stuck with me for a long time. And from that point on, I was all Sammy Sosa, and that was before he was hitting all those dingers. That's when he was doing 30-30. And I'll tell you what, I had met Sammy 3 or 4 times after that as a fan. And not only was he great, he was beyond great. He went out of his way to be nice. And I'll tell you what, I think most people, I mean, we're a little bit older now, and Sammy's been gone for a while. But if you were a fan of the Chicago Cubs back in the day and you went to Wrigley Field and you sat in those right field bleachers, Sammy was unbelievable to the fans. He still is unbelievable to the fans. I was lucky enough to go out to dinner with him in Rosemont. That he did come to my house. I think he used, he was playing. Let me tell you something. Sammy wants to come back and he wants to give back, and that was the whole entire thing. He told me he wants to come back to Wrigley Field. He misses Wrigley Field, and he wants to give back to the fans of Chicago. So the Chicago Cubs, for whatever reason it is, and I don't know what it is, but all I can tell you is this, and this is fact, that there's a Tribune owned the Cubs back then, not the Ricketts family.
correct.
The only holdover from the old regime is Crane Kenny. I'm not saying it's his fault. I don't know what the problem is, but I don't understand why they won't bring him back. Because, I mean, I've done Club 400 for 10 years. He's my favorite player. Why are you not bringing Sammy back? What is the reason? Is there something I don't know? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because Sammy will be remarkable ambassador for Chicago Cubs, and he proved that when he came out here in Rosemont and when he came to my house and he did the sports. If you were at the sports show in March, man, I'll tell you what, guys, I've dealt with over 60 athletes come into my house. There's not one cooler than Sammy Sosa, man. So I don't know what it is, but obviously I'm doing my best to put him in a great light. I want him back more than anything. I want the Cubs to welcome him back. And I think that what's it going to hurt, man? It's going to make a lot of people happy.
Yeah, pettiness pettiness.
Yeah, pettiness. Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah,
The whole thing's stupid.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where it's like, you could have your opinion about him one way or another, but enough time has passed and he treats the fans the way that you've described. And I've heard
Right.
that. And by the way, this isn't just some like promoting event. Everybody that's met Sammy Sosa said the exact same thing to me. And so, then you take about, what he meant to the team, what he did. It's pettiness and it's,
Yeah,
for lack
I
of a
can't
better term,
figure it
it's
out.
dumb.
I mean,
It's dumb.
It's
dumb.
It's really stupid, and that's why I'm fighting against it. And trust me, I'm taking my licks for it behind the scenes, and I don't really care because this charity. Let me tell you guys, we're fans first. We've always been fans first. If I care what the Cubs think, man, I wouldn't have done this. I'm fans first. I always will be fans first.
Well,
I
we
work
have
for
that
the
in
fans of
common.
the Chicago Cubs, man. I'm not a big corporate guy. I'm pissed off like you guys that I got to go to Wrigley Field and order 2 drinks and 2 hot dogs and pay $60. Are you kidding me? I mean, they make it so unaffordable to go to Wrigley for right now. It's sick. So
well, they could charge $160, just win 93 games.
There you go. Exactly.
That's fine. Just win baseball games.
And what are they doing now? They're cutting scouts out. They just fired 4 scouts. Like, what are we doing cutting scouts out? I mean, they're cutting they're cutting money, and they got more money than anybody I know. And
I
they're
saw a scout just walk by my house. Wait, but so actually, I need to follow up on this because the way you told the story, Stu, would you say that Tom Ricketts was pivotal to the snowball of Club 400?
Oh, I would say, yeah, 100%.
The way you told it with Kerry Wood. So I'm curious if you could be the linchpin between Tom and Sammy, or would you be able to say, do you know, is it Tom? Is he the source of this band?
I don't think so. And I don't think it is. I think it may be the guy I mentioned earlier. But I don't know. I don't know that for a fact. And like I told, full disclosure, guys, when I was in Mesa, Arizona in March, and I actually, we host Cub fans out there for a week, all summer long. So if you're ever in Mesa, stop by the Club 400 tent. We'll take care of you. Mm-hmm. But I had actually planned my trip to Mesa, Arizona, and then Sammy had planned on coming to Club 400. So I had to fly all the way back to Chicago, and then fly back to Arizona within basically 24 hours. And I tell you this, when I walked out and I was getting ready to fly home, I went to the Sloan tent and I ran into Tom Ricketts in the tents. And I am friends with Tom. Tom's a good guy.
Yeah.
And I said, Tom, I just want to let you know that Sammy Sosa is probably coming to my house. This is no disrespect to you or the Cubs organization. I don't know what the problem is or what the issue is, but I do know one thing, that when I started Club 400 10 years ago, I have about 400 witnesses. I said that because of Club 400 that will say that Sammy Sosa is my favorite player, and that So I let Tom know this wasn't nothing but my dream coming true as far as Sosa coming out. So and he thanked me for letting him know that. So I let the Cubs know that Sammy was coming out, and I let him know that he was coming out this time too. Okay. So just to be nice, because listen, guys, at the end of the day, I ain't here to start no trouble, man. I'm just here to try to help people out.
Super Bowl shuffle.
Yeah, because I was gonna say that. Do the Super Bowl. I ain't here to start no trouble, but honestly, I'm just trying to raise money, guys, and help people out. And I've opened my house up to strangers for 10 years, man.
Right.
There's no check boxes you got to click. As long as you're a Cub fan, you're welcome to my place. And I have a great wife that allows me to do that, obviously.
I want to show a little bit of a taste of your basement for the viewers right there. And then just this amazing graphic for the event. So, Stu, if you can take us through not only what you expect on Saturday, but some of these options as we get really within hours of the events. There's going to be food, drinks, music, one of a kind live silent auction. Take us through that and some of our options to get there in Lake in the Hills.
A lot of people don't, I'm assuming most of your listeners have not been to a Club 400 event yet. And they're like, what is this, a basement? Well, this is actually a walkout basement with two ways in. There's 3 ways in and 3 ways out. We have so it's works well. But it backs up to a huge backyard where we put wedding tents out there and we put stage out there. It's kind of like a mini festival. That's backed up into the man cave, and you basically you come and you check yourself in, and then we're gonna have a 4-hour party for you. It includes all the food and drink that you want to have. It includes a Q&A with Justin, Roman, and Kenzie, and depending on the tickets, we have 3 different types of tickets. You guys are the first person I'm going to share with. I created it with Joe from Obvious Shirts. That coupon is Obvious, OBBIUS, Obvious Shirts, and that will save you $25 off each ticket. So if you put 3 tickets, let's say you're buying the 150 ticket that includes the photo op, you're going to save $75. So you're really paying one $25 ticket. That goes for the 350 ticket and the VIP ticket also, guys.
Fantastic. Well, that's very exciting. Club 400 10-year anniversary bash with Sammy Sosa this Saturday, 5:30 to 9:30. VIP ticket does start an hour prior to that.
If I go,
4:30.
I might not. I think it's safe to say I'll be at best the second most famous Sammy in the building.
That's right.
If you guys go, I'll make sure you're a VIP, all right?
Oh, all right.
My goodness. Wow.
But yeah, for any of you guys that haven't been to a Club 400 party, I like to explain exactly what it is. Basically, you're coming to my house in Lake in the Hills, and you're going to check in, and you're going to get a lanyard that you're going to wear, and that's going to have your group number. But basically, you're going to walk into my backyard where we have it set up like a large festival. Thankfully, the basement is a walkout basement. So we're going to have tons of live music. We have the fresh cooked food. We have all kinds of booze out there. And we're going to have a Q&A by Justin Roman. And you're going to get your picture with Sammy Sosa. You're going to get an autograph. It's going to be great, man. It's going to be a really good time. Obvious Shirts will be in the backyard selling Sammy shirts. We'll have some other vendors out back. So it's going to be an unbelievable time, guys. And you are going to get your money's worth. I promise you that. But more importantly, your money's going to go to the right place. And we got some really fun things planned for Friday. We are going to, Sammy and Club 400 are giving $10,000 each to the police and fire departments for the widows and children's funds. And Sammy will also be visiting Lurie's Children's Hospital. This is a first. You hear it on Lock Cubs that we're going to be doing all that stuff on Friday. I haven't told anybody that, but because you guys brought me on, tell the world that we are going to do some amazing things on Friday with Sammy, and we're going to give away $20,000. So it's going to be great.
Well, I feel like we're breaking a lot of news right now. So I got to ask a couple more off-script things here that I didn't put in front of me. So first of all, is it true that there's going to be a current player there?
There may be more than one.
More than one. Okay.
I mean, here's the thing, guys. Baseball players are just like us. They got favorite players too. And we got a young Cubs team, and we got some guys that aren't afraid to come out, possibly. And, because I don't know, guys.
Could this be an outfielder by chance?
I think I
could
know.
Be a couple. You know what? I know there's a couple guys coming, and I can't really say who they are.
No, don't.
We're not going to announce them anyways because I don't want to get them in trouble.
But it's at least 2, though.
2, yeah. I'm finding out as we go, but I know we got at least 2 coming. Yeah.
Okay. And then one more thing would be, could we sneak Sammy Sosa into Sunday's game?
I'll tell you what, man. We had some conversations about putting him out in right field and bringing about 100 kids out there.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
But we ain't gonna do that. We want Sammy to be welcomed back by the Chicago Cubs, and we're not force feeding the Cubs' hands. Like, we're just we're trying to let the Cubs know that Sammy wants to come back, and we're putting him in the best possible light as we possibly can. And like I said, I don't see what will hurt by him coming back. I think it'll make a lot of people happy. I know it'd make me happy as a fan, and
totally.
I love to be able to go to Wrigley Field and have Sammy as an ambassador. We don't have that many guys. We have Lee Smith, Fergie, and all those guys, but the Cubs don't have tons of great players in their history, and now they're ignoring one of the best guys in all time when he could be at Wrigley 6 to 7 times a year, greeting fans and hanging out. It makes exactly no sense to me, but who am I? I'm just a fan.
All right, Stu. Bash on Saturday with Sammy Sosa. Thank you so much for being on.
Locked On Cubs. I hope to see you guys both. If you buy, since you guys are the hosts, if you buy the cheap ticket, I'll upgrade you to VIP. All right?
Oh my gosh! All right.
It's for a good cause.
We appreciate you guys, and
we'll hold our own.
I expect, hopefully, down the line, we'll see at the Club 400 Chicago condo where I can we'll have some drinks before the game that don't cost $50.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Stu.
Take care, guys.
Thank you,
Pleasure
guys.
talking to you,
Awesome.
Matt. I know I've talked to you before. It's great to
Yep.
get on your show, Sam. Thanks a lot. Love what you guys do. Appreciate you both. Thanks for spreading the word about Club 400 Cubs fans, helping Cub fans. Thank you, guys.
Today's episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah, with hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com. You might just find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rival city during the postseason. Maybe it's time to taste test your baseball competition stadium cuisine. Well, luckily on Booking.com, you can find the stadium that's just right for you. With Booking.com's wide variety of choices across the U.S., you can go incognito to all your baseball rival city. Maybe it's Los Angeles or Philly or New York or Baltimore or Cleveland or San Diego or dare I say Milwaukee. No matter what team you are rooting for this postseason, Booking.com can make you a fan of any city around the country. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rivals. Check it out today over at Booking.com. Booking.yeah. Well, the plan was to go about 10, 12 minutes with Stu. You see there, 20 plus. Really thankful that he came on with us, Sam, and we hope to have great reports on Mondays, Sunday for Monday's episode, in addition to recapping the last series of the year, recapping our experience at this Sosa event out at Club 400, and you will also be back solo Thursday for Friday, previewing the last series of the year and a little bit more as well.
Yeah, maybe a little Kevin Alcantara talk. He's going to be in the lineup the last 4 ball games. I think I'm going to talk a little bit about Seiya because it feels like his season. I would love for that to be officially reported before I hit record because I don't know if that's the case. But if it's not, we'll see. Maybe talk a little Seiya season, Alcantara being brought up, and then maybe the RBI statistic. I might explore that and talk about why maybe some Cubs have had a real nice year in the rate stat category, but they haven't driven in enough runs. And, that's an old school take. That's a get off my lawn type of take, but we might go there.
It's a bad take.
Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 20 to 30 minutes. We'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube, smash the like button for the algorithm, and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.
Go Cubs.